Hello. If you clicked on this video, you are likely applying to or considering applying to the Toronto Metropolitan's or TMU's Master of Social Work program. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to complete the written components of the application and go through the application requirements. So my name is Jessica and I'm an application advisor with MSW Helper, which is a platform dedicated to helping Master of Social Work applicants complete their applications for the Master of Social Work program. The support and feedback provided by MSW Helper really goes beyond just providing general edits or checking for grammar. It really focuses on the specific nuances of the social work profession and how to incorporate this nuance into your applications. So if this is the first time you are hearing about MSW Helper or you would like more information or support, I recommend checking out the MSW Helper website, which also includes some free resources. And you can find this link in the YouTube description box below or by going to www.mswhelper.com. And please note that MSW Helper is not affiliated with Toronto Metropolitan University. All tips are our own opinion, so please visit the Toronto Metropolitan website for the most up-to-date essay prompts and requirements. All right, let's get into it. So before I discuss the specific prompts and statement of interest, I want to mention that you are required to have a Bachelor of Social Work degree to apply to this program. So if you don't have a BSW degree, you will not be eligible to apply to this program at this school. They only have the advanced standing program. They don't offer a foundation program. So just keep that in mind. So in your personal statement, or also referred to by this school as the statement of interest, you are required to respond to 3 prompts. And you have 3 to 4 pages altogether to answer each prompt, which might not seem like a lot. It is more than what some other schools offer, which is great, but they really are assessing your ability to be succinct and to ensure that what you are including is directly answering the prompt questions. So we will go more into each prompt shortly. And again, really be sure you check with the school's program website for the most up-to-date information, as sometimes the prompts do change from year to year. And in addition to completing the statement of interest, you also have the unique opportunity to submit optional content related to the prompts through creative supplements. So this can be through a short video or art-based materials, and can really help to, again, supplement your statement of interest and what you are including in there. And also can allow the admissions committee to get to know you in a different and more unique way. So we will talk about this more shortly. So let's start with the first prompt, and we'll go over what the admissions committee is actually looking for. So this prompt is asking you to identify a social issue and discuss how you will impact these concerns through policy and practice, including but not limited to research. So it's important to be really specific about the issue you choose to discuss. So for example, if you have the interest of working with low-income immigrant families, perhaps you can talk about the barriers to accessing mental health care given factors like cost, language barriers, etc. And it's always beneficial to discuss a social issue that aligns with your experiences, because you can then draw from these experiences and the insights you've gained to discuss the issue. And you can then validate and support your insights and observations from your experiences with academic literature. And because the main part of the prompt is asking you to discuss how you as a social worker will impact these concerns through policy and practice, only about 1 paragraph is needed to actually highlight the issue, and the rest of the space you have for this prompt really should be spent discussing this actual impact. So I recommend discussing this using examples at the micro, meso, and macro levels of social work, and directly tying it back to the impact this will have on the social issue. So again, the more specific you can be, the better, as this will really showcase your understanding of the issue and the role that social workers can play in addressing the issue. So let's go through a more specific example. So let's say the social issue you are choosing to discuss is the lack of accessible mental health supports for youth transitioning out of the child welfare system. Perhaps the impact you will have as a social worker in addressing the issue is at the macro level. You will advocate for legislative reform that extends access to child welfare and mental health supports until the age of 25. You maybe also plan to engage in policy research that evaluates long-term outcomes for youth aging out of care, using this evidence to inform government decision-making and funding allocation. So within the actual statement of interest, you will have more space to address the prompt, but hopefully this gives you a general idea of the level of detail they are looking for. And you want to ensure that you go beyond just stating that you will address the issue. You really want to show how and give examples of what that could actually look like in policy and in practice. So let's now go through the second prompt question. So this prompt focuses on your alignment with their vision and values, and it asks, how have you or how will you incorporate the school's values into your practice, advocacy, research, community engagement, and or professional development? So in this prompt, again, the more specific you can be, the better. They don't want to hear vague statements that could essentially be applied to any school of social work and any applicant. They really want you to specifically address their unique vision and values and your commitment to this. So I strongly recommend going on their program website and reviewing what their specific values are and thinking about how you could incorporate these. And it can be really helpful to do this before you even start writing, because it helps you to plan out how you can tie together the values with your practice, advocacy, research, community engagement, and professional development. So let's go through some other examples. So I want to start this off by going through a weaker example, because many applicants think that this level of detail is enough, but it may not be as specific as it needs to be. And then I'll go through a stronger example so you can see that as well. So here is the weaker example. I value equity, inclusion, and social justice, which are also important values of your program. I plan to incorporate these values into my social work practice by treating everyone with respect and advocating for equity. I believe in helping marginalized populations and supporting human rights, which aligns with the school's mission to promote social change. So you'll kind of notice that this example is a bit vague and really could be applied to any social work program, which doesn't help you to stand out as an applicant or really directly answer what the prompt is actually asking. It also doesn't go into detail around how these values will actually be incorporated. So here is the stronger example. The TMU Faculty of Social Work's commitment to anti-oppressive practice and community-engaged research aligns with my goal of improving access to mental health care for rural and Indigenous youth in Alberta. I have seen how structural inequities limit access to culturally safe services, and I aim to advance these values in my work by developing participatory research projects that elevate youth voices in service design. So you can see that there's more specificity in this example. Of course, you'll have more space to answer the prompt, so you will go more in depth and provide other examples, but this hopefully gives you a clearer idea of the level of detail to include. So now let's go through the final prompt for the statement of interest. So this prompt is asking how your admittance to their program will help foster an inclusive and transformative learning environment. Again, you really want to ensure that the examples you include are unique to their program and school. Essentially, with this prompt, they want to know what your unique contributions will be for their program and what you will bring that will enhance the learning environment. So what are unique perspectives or experiences you have that could foster an inclusive and comprehensive learning environment? What are those actual perspectives or experiences, and how will you foster those in that environment? What is the benefit of this? So let's go through a couple of examples. So my experience supporting newcomer families navigating housing and language barriers has strengthened my ability to see issues through intersectional and systemic lenses. I will contribute these perspectives in class discussions to help bridge theory and practice while promoting dialogue that reflects diverse lived realities. Having facilitated peer support groups for individuals recovering from mental health challenges, I have learned how to create spaces rooted in empathy and shared understanding. In the classroom, I will bring this same approach through listening deeply, encouraging vulnerability, and ensuring all voices feel valued. So more detail, again, will be needed in your actual statement in terms of how you will actually do these things and incorporate them into the learning environment. But these are some examples of how you can include specific experiences and perspectives. Again, the more specific you can be, the better. You don't just want to say that you will do these things, you want to actually show how you will do them. So now we will briefly go over the supplementary materials you could include along with your statement of interest. So in addition to the written response to all the prompt questions, you also have the option to share your experiences through alternative formats. So this includes a video submission, which would be a maximum of two minutes and submitted with a link only, or an arts-based format. So this could be poetry, artwork, another form of a narrative, and this would be a maximum of 1 page and added to the end of your statement of interest. If you do decide to include this, it really is your chance to show more of yourself and your creative side. This is optional and it will not negatively impact your application to not include it, but it can help the admissions committee to get to know you in a different way if you do choose to include it. And be sure that you align it with the prompt questions and follow their requirements, which again is 2 minutes and a link only for a video and a maximum 1 page for another arts-based format. So finally, let's go through the specific admissions requirements for TMU. So like I mentioned at the beginning, you are required to have an accredited BSW degree in order to apply to the program. They only have an advanced standing program, so if you do not have a BSW degree, you will not be eligible to apply to this school for the MSW program. You're also required to have a minimum 3.0 GPA or a B equivalent within your last 2 years of study. And the program mentions that they take all parts of your application into consideration, which essentially means that they review your application holistically. And if you're not as strong in some areas, your strength in other areas may help your chances of admissions. Again, you want to make sure that you still are meeting those very basic requirements, but there are ways through the statement of interest or the supplementary materials that can really help strengthen if you feel like you're on the lower end of maybe the GPA requirement. In terms of the documents required for submission, we already talked through the statement of interest, but you're also required to submit a resume. The school provides a template on their website of what they would like you to include, and in addition, you're also required to submit 2 reference letters, your transcripts, and English language proficiency if applicable. And you really want to be sure that all of these documents are included in your application, or they might not consider your application. So to wrap up, here are a few final tips. Really be sure that you're starting early. Give your referees plenty of time to complete their reference letters for you, and start your statement of interest well ahead of the deadline. This ensures that you're giving it the time and energy that it needs to ensure that you are submitting a really competitive application. I've already mentioned this quite a bit, but be specific and authentic. Vague statements won't help you to stand out. You don't want to make statements that really any applicant could be making or saying things that could be implied. Being specific and authentic helps you to stand out to the admissions committee and creates a really unique application. And finally, use the statement of interest to connect your experiences and goals directly to the TMU's program. So I hope this was helpful. If you are applying to a Master of Social Work degree or even just thinking about it, I highly recommend checking out MSWHelper.com and joining the free community of applicants who are also applying to an MSW program. On the website, you can access the free resources, and if you would like additional support, we offer personal statement editing and other services that can support you through the application process. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Good luck.